I own a small business and recently opened a website for it, which is getting a lot of fake negative reviews and it is affecting my business. Can I take legal action? Yes, for sure. You can take legal action if the reviews are false, misleading, or defamatory, especially if they're harming your business. Now, here it's important to highlight that even if the reviews are correct, but they are defamatory in their nature or they're offensive or insulting in their nature, that too is an actionable cause of action, i.e., that too is a crime because in the UAE that's considered defamation. And so in defamation, sort of with an aggravated, under the aggravated circumstances, because it's now also being shared on through digital means, which means that the reach of that defamation and therefore the impact or the effect on your business is that much greater. And this is why, in addition to the defamation being the cause of action, you also have a case under the cybercrime law in the UAE, which ultimately assigns a higher penalty for crimes like defamation by virtue of defamation being transmitted through digital channels. So yes, you have an actionable cause of action, and that is for defamation and cybercrime, and the defamation usually falls under the criminal law, the penal law, and the cybercrime is the cybercrime law. So basically, we would be asserting both, and to report that would start with the police. And so make sure that you have the screenshots of the reviews. And the next challenge is to identify who would post the reviews. So you can approach the police, and the police may sometimes be able to trace, or if you know who reported or made these reviews, so you would go to the police or the physical office of the police. If you don't know who is making these negative reviews, as you said, they're fake, so perhaps you don't know, then you file through the e-crime app, the Dubai Police app. And that's because if you don't know, and that's exactly what this service is for, is if you don't know who the perpetrator is on the other side, that's you file with the e-crime complaint, and then the authorities will then investigate on their end and try to trace who the person is or the IP address of wherever those defamatory reviews are being posted. So whether, again, and that applies whether the reviews are fake or legitimate or or kind of abusive and retaliatory. So these kinds of reviews don't in the UAE, if they're in public domain, are considered to be an offense or a crime. However, the police can only do so much, or the authorities can only do so much at this kind of level, because they cannot take down those reviews, right? Because it's Google, they're hosted on Google, so they can pursue the perpetrators. But they can't necessarily at this point just take down the reviews. So you just need to manage your expectations. So that's why you also have there's the e-crime complaint option, and it's through the e-crime complaint that theoretically the authorities can trace who is posting these reviews, and then file a criminal case against those individuals and or companies and pursue them through the criminal channels, and that would theoretically that would act as a pressure point for them to take down the reviews. So that's that's kind of so in a way the fact that they're fake is good for you because they're fake, they're not genuine. But the fact that they're fake, that means that there's somebody who's unknown to you is posting them, and it's harder to seek effective redress for you, i.e. for those comments being removed, apart from the authorities trying to find the perpetrators and file cases against them. And even then, they won't necessarily be able to remove the sites unless, obviously, it's a different level where it's against the public sort of safety of the UAE and to national interest, which I guess with all due respect, it does not apply to your business reviews. But yeah, so certainly do take it seriously. Sometimes also another option is just to report it to Google, right? So that there's also that avenue, especially if you have a number of fake reviews. Then you can report it to Google, and if they can, if it's just kind of systematic, just you being kind of almost hacked or attacked, then Google also may be able to help you.